100 grams.
I'm Tosha. I have an athletic clothing line called Liberated, and I also own a fitness studio.
Right.
I'm a personal trainer.
Cool. So multifaceted. Things. All right. So we're gonna go back, just get some background about you. Like, tell us about your upbringing. Where are you from?
I'm from New Orleans. I'm from Uptown, Pigeon Town area. I moved to the East when my daddy died. So I spent like my teenage years in the East. So I don't know where that would make me from. I don't know.
So how was your family dynamic? You say your dad died. Do you think about it a lot, or is that something that affects you in any way at this point?
No, it may be suppressed. I don't know, but it's not something that I feel like altered anything. I really can't say if it would have made me a different person. I really don't know.
And with your mother, I mean, that's gotta be, hard for her as well. But definitely a strong woman being able to have to, raise you. So, how was that relationship growing up, and how much did she help you as well as being the person you are today?
So my mom was a single mom. I have a sister. I have a brother as well by my dad, but me and my sister, we grew up in the same house. She was a real single mother, just work, making sure we good. She did really well with allowing us to be pretty much like free. She wasn't a helicopter mom. Like my mama was at work. She probably didn't even have time to worry about what we was doing, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, she did. So we was at home a lot by ourselves. We probably raised ourselves, but she wasn't nowhere but work. I can guarantee that. But she made time for us. She made sure she tried to send us to the best schools. We went on vacations a lot. We traveled a lot, but she was at work.
Trying to make the best life she can.
Right.
And the only way that she could, So that's great. So about high school, where did you go to high school at?
I went to Carr on the West Bank. Okay. Yeah, I had to catch 2 buses to school. 2 RTA buses.
So from the East to the West Bank, you had to travel?
Yes, every morning.
How was high school for you?
High school was cool. The first year, being that I'm the girl that's from this side of the river, it was a transition. The West Bank is different. It's really like the atmosphere, everything is pretty much different from this side. So I started there my 8th grade year when it was a magnet school. So I think my mannerisms were very different from the girls that went to Carr. So I was kind of like the eyeball out. But I got along with everybody for the most part.
So did any of your passions that you are in now, can you look back at high school and kind of stem to where some of that may have started from?
No.
Or you just going to school?
This didn't start like how you mean in like what I do now?
Yeah, like anything from fitness to...
Yeah, that didn't start until after I had my son.
Okay.
And I had my son at 19. I have 2 children. I have a son and a daughter, but I had my first child at 19, and I didn't start working out until after I had him because I went through postpartum depression, and I didn't know what it was because, of course, I'm a 19-year-old trying to be a mom, but the only thing that worked for me was working out. So from 2009 up until now, that's like every day. Nothing don't go until I work out. That's my coffee.
Awesome. All right, so that's interesting. Did you go to college after high school?
I did. I graduated from Southeastern in 2012.
Okay, so you had your son while you were
I did.
college studies.
Yeah, my sophomore year. He was at college with us. Me and his dad, we went to school together. Everybody know him. He used to be on campus with us. Sometimes friends had to watch him while we go to class or while we go to work until he started to go to school. But yeah, we raised a child on the college campus for about 3 years.
Okay, dope. All right,
Yeah.
So you mentioned postpartum depression, and that kind of got you to your fitness journey, right? Can you tell us, or even just, people in general, I don't think a lot of people know about it. Like you said, you didn't even know about it until you started to go through it.
Right.
So how was that experience for you, and how, besides even working out, you say that's the main thing, but any other things that helped you along the way that may help somebody else that may be going through that?
So postpartum depression is usually, a lot of women suffer with it after they have kids. It's like a chemical imbalance, and it kind of causes you to not be able to properly bond with your child, or maybe just you're in a really just deep depression almost, and it's, for a lot of people, it's hard to pull themselves out of. Thankfully for me, I was able to find what my thing was, and what I can say to other women who may have experience or who are experiencing it right now, you just have to find your thing, whether that's prayer, journaling, working out. Those were my things. Anything that kept me moving was my thing, and that's just what I followed. So of course seek help, I always say that, but I didn't at the time because I didn't know what I was going through until years later, and it's like, oh, but that's what saved me. Working out saved me. So your fitness journey was the first thing that actually started versus everything else, like your entrepreneurship journey. Right.
All right. So tell us about the beginnings of the other things that you did. You said you also sell clothes, right?
Right.
Tell us about that company, how it started, and what it's about.
Okay. So Liberated isn't my first business. The first business I actually started was a photo booth company. Me and my friend, we had a portable photo booth, and we did parties. It was called Prince Charming. That was my first business. Leading up into this, I had my second child, NOLA. Same things. I actually still found myself falling into that postpartum depression, but because I did it 9 years prior, I knew what I needed to do. Back into working out, I never stopped working out, but I was back into it more because now it's different. Like, this is life or death. Like, I have 2 children at this point. I really just can't be wilding around in misery. I just couldn't. So I got back into it really, really heavily, but also I had a lot of stuff going on in my life at that time. A huge transition for me, and that also was taking a toll on me. So I kind of started a spiritual journey as well, and that's what actually brought me to my company. So like I used to work at the post office. I worked at the bank first for a few years. I went from a part-time teller to a lead teller in about 6 months. I got fired from that job on some bullshit. I could say bullshit. I got fired on some real stupid shit, but it was cool because, you know, I was in a very weird space at that time because I'm young, but at the same time, I'm living like an old lady. So I remember what I was doing, which was waking up, bringing my son to school, going to work, coming home, like just day-to-day life. And I ain't like it. Like, I just, you know, I had a feeling like I'm supposed to be doing something else. Like, there's more to life. But I just didn't know what it was because I go from being, not even finding myself, to trying to be somebody's mother. At 19, I don't even know who I am. So I was in that phase of like, what's my purpose? Who am I? Like, I'm not just Trey's mom, because that's what people used to call me, Trey mama or so-and-so girlfriend. Like, I wasn't Tosha. I was either this person's mom, I was attached to somebody. I felt like I just was existing, but not really living or making a difference. Exactly. I didn't have an identity. So I suffered with that for years, and finally I just reached a point to where I was like, I can't do it no more. Like, something gotta shake. And I started shaking some shit, and I went on a spiritual journey. I'm praying more, like praying really, really heavily. But ultimately, I started reading books, like self-help books. I read The 4 Agreements, I read The Secret, I read Sacred Woman, and I read, what is it called, that 48 Laws of, I didn't read the whole, I was skimming, I'm not gonna lie. It's a good book, but I picked up, I was reading different things, and I was like, I was picking up on everything it was saying. Everything it was saying was literally like, push yourself out there, everything intentional, just like tools on how to live, like how to get my mind ready. So I just went into programming of getting me prepared mentally. And then once I did that, I ain't want to work no more. Like, I'm not supposed to be at this job. I don't like none of y'all. It like their energy was rubbing off on me, and I was working so hard to get my space, my head right, and my energy to a certain. I just want to vibrate higher, and I couldn't do that in that space with them. Like the post office, no shade, but like some of the people in there really miserable, and I'm realizing like being around y'all making me miserable, and I literally just lived through that. I don't want to do that no more. So I was sitting there, and I was like, I quit. I was daydreaming. I got up, I told my manager, I was like, today my last day. So she said, they laughing, everybody on the line laughing, like, girl, you ain't going nowhere. I was like, all right. I counted my drawdown, wrote the total, I told her how much. I was the internal person. I worked at the desk. I wasn't a carrier. So I count my drawdown, I give it to her, and I was like, all right, y'all, bye. And they laughed. She made me sign a paper that said, okay, you quit, you not coming back. I signed it, like, I'm never coming back. The next day, me and my son went to Legoland. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to do stuff with my son when I wanted to. I wanted to work out. I just wanted to live a very easy life. I didn't want to do what nobody else told me to do. So that's where Liberated came from. Like, I just felt free. Fuck y'all. I'm not doing nothing else nobody tell me to do. I'm only doing what I want to do. And that's what I've been doing for like the past 3 years. Only what I want to do. And it works.
So tell us the difference between, because I know there's a lot of people that wants to make a transition like that. Wants to do what they want to do versus what they feel like they need to be doing at this time. Besides you reading and everything, like, was it just one particular thing that just made you just say, I'm done? Was it just more so your son? Is that the main thing that you feel like that kind of pushed you to do it?
That was the main thing, and then just wanting to live my life as well, because like I said, I became a mom at 19, so for a long time, maybe up until he was about 7, I'm just momming. Like, I don't know what I like other than working out, but I'm just living his life. I'm being his mom. So I wanted to also be his mom and still be Tosha. Like, I wanted balance. I'm a Libra. I need everything to be here, because if it's too much of one thing, I'm not happy. I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy for a long time. So I wanted to find my happiness, and that's all I did.
So what is your ultimate goal with Liberated?
So the clothes or the studio? It's all under one umbrella. So the ultimate goal for me is really making an impact. I like the money that I get, but ultimately I like the connections that I make with people. Even before I started training, when I would talk to my customers that would buy from me and I did pickups, and they will always share something about how I inspired them to do something else. Like, you don't think people watch you, but they really are. And I feel like a lot of people witness me pull myself from one thing to something else, and it kind of sparks something in them as well. So I just want to keep sparking inspiration. Also, I want to help other women become more conscious about self-care, being themselves, also knowing that, you're not one thing. You're a bunch of things, and it's okay to be a bunch of things. You don't have to live in one box. So it's about the fitness for sure, because I change lives. Ultimately, like, I build confidence. Like, I feel like I build savages. That's what I call them. Savages are butterflies. But it's very important. Eating right, taking vitamins, like, that's my lifestyle. I live a very clean, not very clean, I'm not gonna lie, but I live a very health conscious life, and I feel like everybody needs to do that, and that's my way of making sure I live in my purpose. Like, I feel like my purpose is to introduce you to something else that's gonna benefit you in the long run, I guess, because I want to be here for my children. I'm sure other people want to as well, but like, life happens. We all live, and you gotta go. Like, some things you just have to do, but just finding a time to really sit down and think about what it is that you want to do and live your life that way. Just not to leave feeling like you never did anything that you possibly want. Like, everyone has dreams. Just chase something, regardless of what it is.
So, what would you tell either your younger self or a child, just to, or just the youth in general, some inspiration from the things that you've learned in life?
I would say to Embrace being different, embrace being the odd person, embrace your feelings, embrace yourself. A lot of times people want to fit in a lot, and to just embrace what's unique about you and stand on it. Like, be who you are regardless of who got something to say about it. That's the best thing you could be, is yourself. Really, like, don't try to be anybody else. Do what you want to do. Unless you like robbing people and stuff, then don't do that. But just really to embrace who you are and be okay with it.
Alright, so it was a great interview. Tell us.
Oh, that was easy.
It's nothing difficult. So tell everybody like where to find you at, you know, what our website handles, or your Instagram handles for your businesses and yourself.
You can find my personal page is Mama Tosha, MAMATOSHA, and my Liberated page for the gym, the studio, and the clothes. On Instagram, it is Liberated, LIBER, the number 8D and an underscore. And my website is LatashaErica.com.
Only in New Orleans.